What up and welcome to the Rival Fantasy community. I am your host, Neil Maligno, and you are tuned in to Not So Obvious Locks of the Week, which are players who are not ranked inside the consensus top 10 this week at their positions, but who have the potential to finish there. Always remember that your roster decisions ultimately belong to you, so use this advice as a tool, but you make the final decisions. I keep these episodes quick hidden. If you want longer interactive content, feel free to subscribe to the channel. Catch our weekly live episodes, including our Start Sit live stream every Sunday at 11:30 a.m. EST. Now, I do like to hold myself accountable and stay transparent at all times, so here are last week's Not So Obvious Locks of the Week and how they performed. At quarterback, I picked Texans quarterback CJ Stroud. He finished as QB1 with 41.8 fantasy points. Listen, quarterback 1. We hit that one. We smacked it out the park. Packers running back Aaron Jones was my running back Not So Obvious Lock of the Week. He finished as RB7 with 17.9 points scored. Again, another top 10 finish. At wide receiver, we had Browns wide receiver Amari Cooper finish as wide receiver 4 with 24.9 points. Another top 10 finish. We smacked out the park. And at tight end, Saints tight end Taysom Hill, he finished as tight end 6 with 20.6 points scored. What do you know? A full trifecta, or not a trifecta. What is 4 in a row? I don't even know. That's what we did, though. We hit all 4 Not So Obvious Locks of the Week in week 9. Let's try to do it again for week 10. Kyler Murray is going to come out firing in his first game of the season versus the Atlanta Falcons defense that is not the greatest. I'm not concerned about the idea of him being rusty or him taking it easy his first game back or him trying to get his legs under him. I believe Murray is in a good headspace. He's been learning the offense while sitting out. He's healthy. And if Dobbs played the way he did in Arizona, imagine what Murray is capable of doing in this offense. Murray is about to remind the league exactly who he is, put everyone on notice, and that's why he's my Not So Obvious Lock of the Week at quarterback in week 10. In week 9 versus the Commanders, Patriots running back Rhamondre Stevenson gave us a taste of kind of what we expected him to be doing all season long. He finished as the RB2 in PPR scoring with 87 rushing yards on only 9 carries, 1 touchdown, another 4 receptions for 42 yards, got him right under the 23 fantasy point mark. The biggest concern that most of us have heading into week 10 is the 9 carries, which is fair, but I believe the Patriots are struggling and they know Stevenson is the key to them having success. I believe old Billy Belichick will give him more carries, keep those targets up, and Stevenson will find the end zone versus the Colts in week 10, making him my Not So Obvious Lock of the Week at running back. Bills wide receiver Gabe Davis is the epitome of what you think about when you're given an example of an inconsistent boom-bust wide receiver. Go ahead and look up his game logs. It's a damn near pattern of good game, bad game, good game, bad game. You get the point. However, Gabe is part of a high-power offense, top-flight quarterback, elite wide receiver opposite of him, and now he's playing the Broncos in week 10 after a bad game last week. So you know what that means. Fire up Gabe Davis wherever you have him, as he's my Not So Obvious Lock of the Week at wide receiver in week 10. There are always players that it feels like we're just waiting for a breakout game, and Chigoziem is one of those guys. He currently sits at tight end 28 in PPR scoring, has all the tools to be really good, but for some reason he hasn't broken out of that slow start to the season. Chig has a good matchup versus the Bucks, who have been ate up by tight ends the last 2 weeks, so he's no doubt a sneaky tight end play. He also plays a position where we know it doesn't take a ton for a player to end up in the top 10 any given week, and he's no doubt due for a good game. I believe Will Levis will have a really good game versus the Bucks, and he'll bring Chig along for the ride, making him my tight end Not So Obvious Lock of the Week in week 10. Want more fantasy football advice from Rival Fantasy Sports? Go ahead, subscribe to the channel, get our new content plus live shows, including our weekly live stream every Sunday, 11:30 a.m. EST. If you're driving in the car, you can only do audio. Subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. If you're looking for a way to reach out to us, follow us on social on X, Instagram, TikTok, all at Rival Fantasy. And of course, go to rivalfantasy.com or download the Rival Fantasy app on your smartphone right now. Do it right now. Stop this podcast, stop what you're watching, stop what you're doing, or if you're on iPhone, whatever you are, slide the screen up, go ahead, go to the App Store, type in Rival Fantasy Sports, download the app, create an account, use that link in the description. You will get a up to $200 deposit match on your first deposit, plus a $25 free voucher. Take advantage of it. It's for you. We love you. That is it for today's Not So Obvious Locks of the Week. Let me know your Not So Obvious Locks. Put them down there in the comments. All right, guys, I'm out. Love you. We're out.